Well, now that we've installed our software, let's see about preparing our first tax return. If you look in your book on page 319, there's some taxpayer information, and we'll start with the first one, which is fairly simple. Yiming Chow, and I'm probably butchering that name. What we need to do first is go up here in the upper left-hand corner of the software, and you can see our little plus, and we're going to click that, and you can see it says add a client. So it will open up forms that you have not yet been reviewed, 1040 individual, we don't have any others. And we're just going to look down at the bottom, and we probably want to just say, do not show this warning again, and we'll say close. And at this point in time, you can see that comes up and it says add or open a client, and of course at this point in time we want to add a client, so we'll click OK. And now it comes up here. If you look at the upper left hand corner, it gives us client data, and we can enter the data that's provided in the book for us. Now one of the things I suggest is I type in all caps for tax returns just because it makes things easier. I'm getting Yiming Chow in there. We are provided with his social security number, which is 412-345670, and his date of birth is 10/27/84. And from that over here, I don't believe we're told the occupation. He is single. There is no spouse's name. So we can skip down and draw down the bottom of the page up. His address is 456 Maple Avenue. And we would enter it just like that. And then we get the city is somewhere in Ohio, and the zip code they tell us is 43003. We have contact information that really isn't necessary for us. It's for our records more than anything. And so down in the bottom corner, we'll click OK. And now you can see that we're directed to a new screen that brings us out with the form on it. And over here is the form 1040, A, etc. And we can go down and click different forms if we want to. Yiming will automatically, he could be a 1040 EZ. It really doesn't matter. And you'll notice here how we've clicked in, and so we have all of his information in here, his social security number, his address. Here is the presidential election campaign if he wanted $3 to go to it. We have his filing status checked as single. And then down here is some more information that is really not applicable to us. But when we look at the exemption area, you can see we claim ourselves, or what you would do. And then if you look down at the rest of the form, he has no dependents, etc. And then if you start to look at the form, now we get to line items. And they tell you that the information you need is in Exhibit 3A, which is the very next page. And since wages is the first line, I'll start with that, and you'll see on page 320 there is a being told the autosave is turned on, which is probably a nice thing. But on the page 320 there is a W-2 form down on the left-hand bottom side, and so I'm going to come over here and just click the area, not wanting to do that, and I'm just going to put a 1 there. And it's going to give me a box that pops up, and we're going to say open supporting form, and then you can see W-2 add copy, and we'll check that and say open form. And really this makes your life very easy because it gives you an exact duplicate of the box. And so if I wanted to enter all of the information, I could enter the employer's ID number and the employer's name, but really what I'm mainly interested in are these boxes over here. And so he had wages of 41,321 and 34 cents, and I'll enter that there. But one of the first things to watch what happens is that when I go back, and if I finish at this point in time and I close this form out, and I go back and I look at the 1040 down here, you'll notice that what it's done is it's chopped off the pennies. And jokingly, we call this senseless accounting. We don't need to enter pennies. We can do it just by entering, rounding to whole dollars. And so I'm going to open the form back up, and I'll just make my life easier. I'll enter 41,321, and it automatically, when I hit enter, it tabs me over to the federal income tax, and that is 4670. And then it tabs down, and the Social Security wages are the same, and the amount of Social Security is 2582. The amount of Medicare wages is the same, and the amount of Medicare tax is the same. And then when we have state returns, you're going to have to scroll down to the bottom of the W-2, and we'll click on the state, and we'll hit an O for Ohio. We're not provided with a state number, but the state wages are the same, 4321, and the state income tax is 1240. And the reason these lines become important to you is, if you have a taxpayer that is moved and he's got wages in more than one state, then we have to prepare a state return for each of them. Now at this point in time, I can close out this information, and I can come down to taxable interest, the next line, and you'll notice that there is a box there on page 321 on the lower right hand side. It's a 1099 INT that reports interest income. And so I need to open up a supporting form here, which I don't have to do, but I can. I can enter the bank's name, but you only file this if your interest and dividends is over $1,500. So I can come over here and just enter the 200. I can come over here, and now I'm looking at the form, and automatically, if I put it in the right box, I'm going to be there. So I have $270, and I'll enter that in interest income. But as I said, I don't have to enter all the bank's information. I will close that form out. I'll close that form out. And what you'll notice is back on the 1040 on the line 8A, for it's put the $270. Then I have dividends. And so if you take a look on page 20 on the left-hand side, we have a dividend form. And so I will come over here and I can say open up the supporting form. I don't have to do that. And in fact, at this point in time, what I'm going to do is just put in the amount, and that is 90. And I'll say override the value, enter $97, and I will put down here on the qualified dividends, and I'm going to override the value because I don't want to have to do the form again, and I'll put in $97, and that is information I got from the 1099 DIV on page 320. Now, he also received a refund of $52, and so over here, now I probably want to open up the supporting form. And what I'm going to get to is a form that looks like this. It has his name, amount from 1099G, and that's what we were sent. And that is $57. So I'll type in the 57 there. And, well, if I can find it, the 57 there. And it comes down year of income tax refund, and so you can enter 2015. The payer state would be Ohio, and I'm all good to go with that. And then the question becomes down here is enter the amount of your state and local income taxes shown on your 215 Schedule A. Well, we're told he did not itemize. So that amount is zero. So none of this refund is going to be taxable to him. And we can close out this form. And so what we have is our wages of 41,000, our dividends of 270, our interest income of 270, our dividends of 97. We have total income 41,688. We have no adjustments to income, and so our adjusted gross income is 41,688. And we want to continue looking on at the page 2. There's our $6,300 for our standard deduction for being single. And there is our $4,050 for the one exemption. And then on line 43, if you're following around, is his taxable income. And this is the amount we pay tax on. And his income tax is $42.35. And then if we look down here, we'll come down, he has no non-refundable credits. He has no other taxes. And then when we get down into payments, there's the amount that was withheld, $46.70. And then we scroll on down, and there is the total payments, $46.70, and his refund on the federal income tax return of $435. That's all for now.